Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back. It's a Thursday, the sun is shining, and we're going to do some drawing to start off the day. Thank you for joining me. I can see there's a little handful of you, which is awesome. And we're just going to do some more figure drawing. I hope you're all well. Remember, if you do some drawings, to hashtag hashtag Cardiff Life Drawing. And then we can check them out on the Cardiff Life Drawing website. And if you want to say hello, there's a little chat engine in YouTube. I think you've got to be logged into YouTube. So hello, if you're joining us. If you're watching it later on, don't worry about it. But enjoy it anyway. So we'll crack on straight with some drawing, because that's what we're here to do. So let me just minimise myself. Bing! Disappear. Off I go. I'm dropping in there. Okay. Move me over a bit. Right, I got a couple of drawings for you today that I'd done a while back. I did some when we were drawing our ballerina, Crystal, when she came in. She was awesome. These were some early drawings I kind of did before the class, I think, to put on our web banners. And I got some other little bits and bobs, and we'll have a look at them. We're not going to rush. I'm just warming up at the beginning of the day and doing some drawing. Okay, so the first one I've got here is, I'm just going to do this back drawing. I'm just going to pull it out a bit. Whoop. My pen's going to play. So I'm just doing this back one here. We did this one the other day, but we're going to do this back. I just thought it was something to warm me up, and hopefully you'll feel the same about it. Whoops. Let's just get going. Let me pull this out a bit. So I've got my brush. Hello, Alex. Hello. Just said hello. You've joined us today. You've been able to make it. I know you've been at work and you've been chatting to me online about that, but awesome. Nice to see you here this morning. Cool. Right, just basic shapes. Let's draw this back. We're going to come across the shoulders. Here we are, and I'm going to just draw in my upper torso, generic basic shape, nice and diagonal as it just leans away. Something like that. I'm sure I'll change it in a minute or correct it in a minute. Okay. So let's just say hello to Alex because we can. Hello! Because I want to use it. I want to use the little chat engine because it's kind of funky. Right, so let's do the lower torso. I'm just going to pull a little bit of length off that. I think I got a little long. And then I'm going to pull my lower torso box away here. Again, I'm thinking about the parallel motion across the top of the hips, or across the top of that lower torso box and across the buttocks, something like this. Okay. So I'm laughing at what Alex just said on the chat. Never. I'm sure you're working very hard, Alex. Let me just do that. I am going to bring my spine line is slightly 3/4, so over towards one side. I've got a little bit of round curve to that. And then I'm going to drop down and keep it nicely tucked over to one side, over here. For now. That will do. That's the basic shape. Alright. And we'll see where it takes us. I'm going to work on this lower part first. So we've got the back of the external oblique kind of dropping in there, and then we come out off the hip on this figure drawing, and we come into the shape of the buttock. Got a little fat pads there coming around. On this buttock, I'm going to roll it in, and I'm going to flick into the back of the sacrum, and I'm going to build it today just as like a triangle, kind of thinking about the form of that triangle here. This will be how the back muscles roll up. They're going to roll up through the figure in a bit. So I don't want that too dark, but it's all fun. Cool. This one seems to lift. It really lifts. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. It's our first drawing. For fun, I'm going to put in my gluteus maximus. I'm going to just suggest how that form sits in there. I want to keep it light. I know it's going to sit in there. Something like that. A little bit strengthening on that spine. I'm going to do some of the upper torso because then I'm going to decide how this twist works down through here. So first of all, trapezius. Going to get a little bit of that curve through the figure. And the basic shape is it kind of rolls down through here somehow, over the shoulders, over the shoulder blades. Sorry. Let's put in the neck out of interest. So I'm just going to curve around the top here, dropping down in, drop that spine line down through. Cool. And then I'm going to place in my deltoid shoulder muscle, and I'm going to come kind of to the point, kind of creates like a tear shape. There's the little indentation there. It's actually, well, I think it's like that, if it was really defined, but it comes in like this. Just going to move my drawing down a bit. Ooh, he said confidently. Let's just suggest this arm, about that, and that. I don't know where it's going to go. While we're doing those, let's get the other side in. Deltoid, dropping that in, keeping the weight to the bottom of that deltoid like this. And I'm just going to get a generic, don't know what's going on there, wasn't that worried about it in the drawing, so something like this. Cool. I'm just, because this is the first drawing, we're just doing the generic basics of the back and just warming up our line quality and kind of getting our brain, well, I'm getting my brain engaged. I'm sure you guys are engaged, but I'm just kind of warming up my brain. Okay, let's get this, because this is raised up, this shoulder blade is rotating slightly and lifting. So I kind of suggested it in there. So I've got this shoulder blade, because they're really long, they're like halfway, of that upper torso, so I've got something like that. I don't want it too dark through there, but what it's going to do then is also it's going to lift that lat in there, down into the rib. So we get a little curve there. And do the same on the other side. Well, let's get that other shoulder blade in. So I've suggested it in here. Just sits down in there. Oops, my Cintiq. A little bit crazy, something like this. And then that trapezius, so I might play with it a little bit. So kind of enjoy the fact it will sit like over and then over this shoulder blade and then roll. All over this form a bit. Oh, I'm just playing at the moment, I'm fiddling. Let's get that in there. And then the rib. So we've got the curve of blacks back in there. I want to get this pinch a bit. I'm going to roll this way. If you can see. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I didn't zoom in that much. Keeping trying to keep the roundness. The rib actually kind of comes up here, probably something like this. Don't know that I need that in, really. What I'm just trying to do is keep the form rolling around here. Right, let's turn this figure a bit. So although the rib cage rolls here, the lower torso turns. So you see, so you've got the kind of direction of the rib, but then you come round to the stomach and it flattens. But because this figure's turning slightly, we're coming around, and then we're just showing a little bit of the stomach down in here. Oh, I don't want that. I want a little bit of that shape around the stomach. and then changing down something like this. Sorry. Just trying to get a little bit of kind of shape in those lines. And then I'm going to show, like the hip would roll up and down. So I'm going to come down here, and then I just need to zoom back out to get my lengths, because I'm going to roll down here and then roll nice curve down towards the knee. It was a really bad line. Something like that. Let's lift this into that buttock muscle. A little bit of shape on this muscle, and then rolling down into that leg. And you can't quite see in the drawing, but this character was kind of on their legs, and then leaning on their knees and their legs. So it'd be something like that. And I guess because of that, remember that feet are a triangle. So if you, even if you're just dropping a triangle shape in, and then want to get a bit more definition on that, something like that. See where it ends up. And this one rolled around and kind of back in, and that other leg sits in there. Cool. Let me just, it feels like it's like floating without a head, so I'm just going to drop in like a basic shape of the head. And certainly won't be my prettiest drawing, but it's something to get us warmed up. I hope that was okay. Let's draw another one. There's a couple of you watching, or a couple more people are watching. So let's keep going. And, oops. This was a drawing I did kind of prepping for Crystal, kind of getting used to my, just used to drawing some shapes. So I did this one. So I thought it was kind of fun. So I thought, since we're working off still images, let's work off one of these today and see if we can build it up a bit. So, how are we doing? We're just going to, this is kind of crazy, isn't it? She comes across the shoulders. And she's really flat up there. Oh my god, imagine being able to bend like that. Kind of crazy. And we're looking, in a way we're looking, if you can see this, at the top of the torso. So we'll see, you're going to have to build this carefully. Something like this. And then she's almost flat, like vertical. And ideally I want kind of these lengths to be similar. So this length and this length. Let's see where it ends up. So it's something like this, and I'm sure we're going to build up from this and see where it ends up. And I might put in a bit of gesture line, and I might see if I can get, because I'm drawing for me, a little bit more. I might stylize it a little bit. Why not? It's a Thursday, and I feel like it. Let's get a whole load of flow in there. Back through into the foot. Big S curve, though I didn't draw it very neatly. So we're going to come down to the knee, down through the shin, and then the foot will curve back slightly. It's kind of fun. Let's see where it takes us. We'll block that in a bit, just so it makes a bit more sense. So we're going to have the end of the buttock, and we're going to do something like drop the leg in, the upper leg. We're going to place the knee on the front of this, and then we're gonna, in a minute, we're gonna just build in the shape of that calf, really basically. Gonna come here, just pointing front on, and I'm gonna show a little bit of the back of the heel. And she's got to be on her toes, so something like that. Cool. We've got the other one out here. Make sure it's about this length, so it should be about that length. Should be about that length, because she's very side on there, so there's not a lot of foreshortening. Cool. Am I going too fast? I don't know if I'm going too fast. You have to tell me on the chat. Let's get into this torso, I think. Let's see where it takes us. I think I want to put in the shoulder, deltoid in there. I want to bulk that in. And then I want to pull this arm, and to make sure this arm comes forward in the foreshortening, I'm going to curve this way. So we're looking down the tube that way, down that down the top of the arm. And I'm going to build into that shoulder, elbow. I can speak, honest. And I'm now going to pull up the forearm. And remember what I'm going to do in that form is, again, I'm going to draw curves in here, but I'm going to come, you know, when you first draw forearms, you're going to draw them like tubes. Then you kind of learn to maybe draw them a bit like triangles, but in a way you're trying to think about it. It's a bit like, so the hand is this side, that's my hand. That's the hand. It's a good hand, those, yeah? If you like those hands, give me a little thumbs up on YouTube. And then actually in the end it does something a bit like that, if that makes sense. With a hand. I think those are the best drawings I've done so far. I think they are amazing. They are well worth you joining me today. So what I'm saying there is I'm going to come flat here and then I'm going to get a little bit of curve. That's what I'm trying to point out. A little bit of curve like that. That was what that was going on about. Oh, Cintiq doing funny lines again. Because I'm there and it's very easy, I'm just going to drop in the flat shape of the hand. So this part of the hand is quite often a square or like a little rectangle, but it's this flat area of the hand, and then I'm just going to drop the fingers in like this at the moment. Cool. The more people have joined us, hello! Just going to zoom out, just checking I'm not getting too long now. That'll be alright. Who's going to arrest me? Let me just get the hole for the tube of the neck to come in and give me the pit of the neck down in here, because I think I want to get that kind of neck tube in, and then I've got to zoom out just to make sure I'm getting my proportions kind of right, because I'm going to come in and give me a rough head shape, which I'm sure I will change later on. Know me. Feels about right. Remember, if you've just joined us and you're logged into YouTube, you can say hello on the little chat engine as well, just like Alex. Let's see where we're going to take this. Oh, I feel the need to draw an trapezius just here. Someone gave me a thumbs up. Yay! Thank you very much. It's always nice. Down through here. Let's draw the other shoulder. Here we are. And I need to get these to connect. His hands are like they're connecting, aren't they? Holding hands. So let me just put in some guidelines and we'll see where we end up with this. So on this forearm I'm going to draw a curve. I'm going to come down this side as one sweeping curve, and on this side I'm going to come around that muscle and then into the lower arm. And then from that elbow I'm going to roll, and I'm going to draw a little bit of shape in that muscle. It feels a bit big actually, isn't it? No, it's okay. It should be okay. Might make the deltoid a bit longer on mine because of that. So if you see that curve here almost, that would maybe would help tell me that the deltoid wants to come a little bit longer, and I want the pads of that deltoid here. We'll see. Looks like I've broken that arm slightly now. Oh, I think I'm making a mess of that. I think by the way I drew that deltoid, I rolled the arm more side on, and actually you're looking across it. I think the point might be more here. The way I drew it, it rolled the arm back slightly. That's what I was thinking in that moment. Kind of going, this doesn't feel right. Something feels wrong. What is it? Hello, Holly. Hello. How are you? Nice to see you drawing with us again. Cool. It's like half the class is coming with us. It's good. We're all doing it online together. Hopefully you're drawing slightly better shoulders than I am today, because I'm not sure what I was doing there. But anyway, we're saying that hand is behind. Let's pull this in here. Down to the pit of the neck. Yep, I'm fiddling around, but something like that. Let's draw in some of this shape in here to connect this, and then we can neaten this up a bit. Now, I showed a lot less of the torso in that drawing than I have in this drawing, which is interesting. So it's nicer here because I can see like the end, like the 10th rib on there. It's gonna like, kind of get hidden behind there. So I've kind of look how much like negative space I've allowed in that drawing. I could tweak it all, but I've drawn it now, so I'm gonna keep going with it. But I'm gonna pull that 10th rib up higher, and then come down. I've got to watch I don't break her and make it too slight in here. I'm gonna come around the stomach mass. It's got to come down here somewhere. Let's get this centre line in. So we know that the rib cage would be somewhere like that. I don't want to draw that in, but it's going to bring my centre line here, and then she goes a little bit more side on, and I am playing with that in here. So imagine like we're going to imagine like our stomach is kind of sat in here somewhere, and then come down to the groin. So we've got to make sure this comes over. And then coming down into the groin. That made sense. I had to do that from a distance to make it feel, I could feel like the two body blocks. No worries. Alex is running off. I'll see you later, Alex. I know you'll watch it later. And when you watch it later, hello again. He got caught in his coffee break watching it on YouTube, watching YouTube on his phone. I'm going to roll around this stomach and come down into the groin. Around here, just getting a little bit of shape. Something like that. If I want to keep playing with that, I mean on here I've drawn this nice rounded shape like around the top of that leg, but what I'm aware of is the hip coming up high up in here and then rolling around into that, into those thighs. And Crystal has got the most amazing thighs in the world because she's a ballerina. You know, she's got huge thighs, really, really strong, amazing. Awesome. Alex has just said, look up, you can see it on the feed, look up Backyard Stone Carving Festival on Facebook and Instagram in the next 4 days to see sculpture carvers and masons across the world making carvings from their gardens. That's kind of awesome. I should check that out later. Cool. We shall see it later on. There are some amazing figure sculptors on Instagram. I don't know any of their names off the top of my head, but I know that I follow some, and some of the work that comes up is just breathtaking. You know, to draw it on paper, the figure in paper is one thing, but in a way, although I'm trying to draw a three-dimensional form, it's a flat image. To be able to sculpt it three-dimensionally is remarkable. It's remarkable. It's something I would love to I'd love to do one day, I think. I should just get on with it and do it, shouldn't I? Anyway, I feel the need to draw a belly button. It's going to be in there. There we are, I feel better now. So, in here we're going to draw a little bit of the external oblique. We're going to pinch it. Oh, let me roll it this way, because the way that squashes into the rib. Oh, I could overlap though. And I'm going to kind of try and define it here. It sits in here somewhere. Like this. And then I'm going to come out, so I'm going to create a little bit more shape. I'm going to come out from that hip and flatten, and then come into the shape of the buttock. And actually that is starting to come together, because I thought I was making a hash of it actually. I'm going to darken that end of that rib. It's just a line quality thing. On the back here, I'm going to come around that shoulder. I would see some of that lat, I think, on her, and then into the end of the rib. In the ribs, you would see some of that rib coming around. Be careful with that. I don't want to put too much in, but this is going to curve around. Right, let's suggest a little bit of darkening in here. Get a little bit of definition in this arm. The elbow is going to sit inside. In a way, because we're looking up this arm, I want the upper arm to overlap, I think, the lower arm. Make sure I got that muscle long enough. Nice curve on there. Get a little bit of, I'm just going to roll that down and get a little bit more curve on here. Just keep some mark making for form, but not a lot else. So on this drawing I'm going to see a little bit more of her bust. So just to be aware of it in this drawing, I'm just going to put the shape in here. Ugh, I made a mess of that. And I might see the slightest amount underneath the arm in there. Trying to draw forms, but I didn't do a very good job of that. Trying to draw the aureole there, but anyway, let's zoom out. Yeah, that bendy leg is kind of crazy now, but I'm loving it. That's kind of cool. It might have drawn the legs a little long, looking at it, but that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. Oops, let's go in there again. That's better. Oops, my machine is just catching up. Sorry. Oh, still catching up. Right, let's have some fun up in here. Let's put some of these generics in on the head. So I'm just going to put a guideline in about halfway. This figure looks like they're actually lifting the chin very slightly. I'm not going to get hugely into that. I suppose I could pull like a chin mark up. If I wanted to do that though, I've got to be careful because I need to remove some of this and kind of suggest the underneath plane in there. I think we're going to struggle. I want to almost... Obviously, female form has a less defined Adam's apple, but if I'm aware of that kind of centre line down there, down through the neck, I think it can help guide the front line of that neck. And I can draw these, see that there, I can pinch that there from behind my ear, kind of rolls down to the pit of the neck. And I think that's, you can often draw that and pull that down in to get a little bit of form down into there. I could even roll into that muscle there. Why not? It's got a collarbone sat in here. So anyway, centre line, really lightly, about halfway then. If we're doing this, we're going to see a little bit of the underneath of the nose, so I'm going to just plane in that. Then I'm going to put halfway between here and here, I'm going to put my mouth and suggest the lower lip. And again, for ease, we're going to put in really lightly the skull eye sockets. It's just so we're not worried about drawing this perfect portrait. We're just going to put in kind of the face. And I'm going to put my eyebrows, raising them slightly above this shape. And again, for ease, if we need to, you know, we're not trying to draw a portrait, we can close his eyes. Keep them curved, so they're curving around the head. Something like that. That's going to give me guidelines for the ears, so cross from the eye down to the nose. And you're not seeing a lot of it, yeah? Front on, across from the eyes, down to the nose. And what this is doing is giving me a generic head. I'm going to create like a side parting, like a centre parting. A side parting, not a centre parting. I'm going to just create a wave. And I'm going to come out from this same parting and just kind of come around that skull shape and let gravity do what it needs to do. And I'm going to come back, I'm going to tuck this behind the ear, have less volume here, but tuck it behind the ear. Yeah, if I want to create some form in those lines, let me ease some of that out. I'm not trying to colour that in, I'm trying to put a few lines in the direction. And we'll allow it, maybe we'll allow it to tuck behind and we'll do something like that. That was fun. I'm going to need a little bit more hair there. That will do. Let's get a little bit on this hand because I think it's going to make it more graceful. Let's lift a finger out because we can. Okay, so we'll lift one finger in here. Flat at the top, curved underneath. So remember, watch finger ends. You know, a rounded end like that doesn't mean anything. Well, it does. It means you're looking from the top or the bottom. If you draw it like that, it means the nail is on that side. So if you're drawing it slightly 3/4, be aware of, if this makes sense, that a fingertip is the nail is on there. So you're slightly aware of, oops, how you draw the end of that fingertip. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to mitten these fingers out. Remember the middle finger is your longest finger. So I'm just making sure this feels longer than the finger I drew. And then if I feel the need, I can just drop in my other two fingers. Oops, I've got a really thick little finger there for a moment. Anyway, if that helps pull something together really quickly. And the other hand somehow is in there. I'm going to make it bust through and chuck a knuckle in. Who knows what it's doing. But it's coming together as a drawing. I'm enjoying it now, so I'm warming up, I'm kind of engaging the drawing, I'm thinking about each element. I'm just going to lighten some of that line. Right, let's get down to these legs. Groovy. And this is probably where I exaggerate it and pull it apart a bit. I'm going to get a bit more shape with my line thickness on there, coming around down into that knee. On this side, I'm going to enjoy kind of the tautness of that buttock. I'm going to allow for how this leg rolls around. So a little bit of shape there, curving in, coming into the back of the knee. So I should roll in again at the bottom of that knee. So a little bit of weight here, thinning out, rolling into that knee. That's how I want to draw it. From here is the front of the Icarus crest. So that muscle kind of comes around here. I don't see, I'm kind of playing with it there. I don't see it hugely on this drawing. I suppose it allows for, depends if I'm going to draw in this muscle. So if I allow for that muscle coming to the knee, it's going to, the centre of that muscle comes down to the knee. And she is defined, it can sit over the knee, like either side can sit over. So then I could come down and draw that muscle. I don't know the muscle, I'm sorry. I don't know the name of it. It actually splits. There's a third part in there from my understanding, but you very rarely do you see that. So in the end it kind of comes like this, over this muscle. From my understanding there's another muscle there, not defined like that. If that kind of makes sense. So I could put in some mark making coming into there to suggest that form. Just a bit of weight underneath the knee. There might be a bit of crunch in the middle there. Hey, cool. Just actually roll a little bit lower, because in the end it will roll towards the bottom of that knee, out of interest. And remember, the calf and the ankle bones should kind of do that. So with that in mind, we're going to roll a little bit of weight onto the bottom of that calf. We're going to define that shin a bit more, but not break it quite so heavily. So I'm going to start there and then come into that shin. And then I've got the other side of that calf. And this, I am stylizing this a bit, but hey, it's my drawing. Down into that ankle bone. Because the way this is standing, let's see, we're going to see the side of the ankle bone, and let's point it down the foot. Because then you're going to see the top of the ankle like this. And that's where we can get that lovely curve you can get down the foot. And then into the toe. Obviously they have strengthened. They have structure in those shoes, don't they? There's a little bit of structure in those shoes. To help strengthen it, and practice, I do believe. So we're just going to draw the other toes kind of sitting in, but what I'm doing is doing like toenails on the top plane, and we're doing something like that, and I'm going to draw back a little bit that shape on the heel, and then I've drawn like a twist, almost like the center comes here and then it drops down, the twist almost, the foot almost twists slightly. To help that twist, I need to pull that ankle back slightly. You did show less of it, if that makes sense. I'm playing a little bit because I'm just trying to make it work. Something like that. Yeah, that's fun. I hope you're having fun with it. I'm having fun with it. That's kind of working. That's crazy though. But it's crazy, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's all there, but it's kind of crazy. But I like it, man. What a cool kind of pose. Imagine like if you could have a model posing like that for a long period of time. That'd be crazy. Hey, I'm enjoying that. Anyway, cool. How are we all doing? We got people here. We still got people here. So we're going to draw this other side, and from this angle, I always like to get the other side of that hip in, because you've got it here, so it kind of drops there. I think it looks cool. Now I've dropped the knee is lower in that drawing than on my drawing here. I could change it, but I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it that high, like it's the strengthening. It's almost like drawing a keyframe for animation. You're kind of strengthening that pose. So I'm going to draw even higher, like, and that helps flick her up properly. So again, nice curve through the leg, down to the knee. So there's my generic shape. The bottom of that thigh needs to imagine the buttock, the underneath of the buttock, and then the other side needs to roll and then connect. So I'm going to curve up and into. Something like that. In a minute I'm going to pull out to check I've got these lengths right. So then I've got my calf. So I'm going to roll that calf shape in. And I've got the front of the shin. And I think on this drawing I'm going to see more of the heel. And the foot kind of dropping away, but the heel would do something like that, I think, with the ankle bone in there. And I've got to zoom out just to check scales and things. Now I think I'm losing a bit of mass there. I think I can pull the heel further back. Come on, it's getting a bit. The lengths weren't feeling right. And I'm going to get more crunch with that muscle. Keep a nice distance here. Yeah, because that's the side wall. That leg is totally turning. Otherwise, you'll bring the knee towards you more. A little bit of shape on that knee. Pop, pop. I'm going to suggest the other side of that knee slightly. Well, probably I need to roll around a bit more and have the knee a bit more there. So it's the front of the knee and the bottom of the knee sat here, and then try and get a little bit of curve in that shin if I can. Got to do a sound effect. Okay, let's reposition my ankle bone because I added a little bit more length. Something like that. A little bit of shape here. Let's get a little bit of mark making coming around this form. Zoom in a bit so you can see what I'm doing. Get a little bit more mass here. So I'm crunching in there a bit. So what I'm trying to do is bring some lines deliberately around the tube of the leg. That'll do. Cool. In fact, I really enjoyed drawing that in. Well, not that I didn't think I was, but actually, I know I pulled a bit long up here, but actually I think I've had a lot of fun drawing that, so that's kind of cool. Wow. How are we doing for time? Yeah, we're doing alright. Do one more. And I had, what else did I have here? I think that was the only one on there. Yeah, it was. I had this one. So slightly different. We've done a lot of standing in these videos the last couple of days. Hair's getting long. Need to get a haircut. Can't get to a barber, funnily enough. Next time you see me, I might just shave it all off. Be fine. It'll grow back. So let's do the one where she's tucking down, because it's kind of cool. Very different to what we've drawn so far. Yeah. I'm trying to pick this up and just move it slightly. And we've got lots of space back in here for one more. Said confidently. See if I can fit it in. I might just scale these down a bit, give myself a bit more space. I'm fiddling, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna draw her rear end in, I think, first. I'm gonna draw this in. Big oval. I'll draw, that's basically kind of almost side on there. I would draw often like talk about a pear shape, but it's the biggest mass, and I see a big oval shape, and we'll pull it together from that. From this, I'm gonna pull her leg in, something, and I know it's gonna sit here. There's a lot of curve and crunch in there. I'm gonna come down through there, and then it pulls back. Hopefully, it don't. If it overlaps, I'll pull my drawing across, and then. We will need to get that rib in. Now, what's interesting is because I want to, if I flatten that top, I kind of want to, this sounds weird, I want to pull the buttock higher, so then it's dropping, you get a nice angle through that lower torso. So imagine the top of the buttock there, not here, if that makes sense. It's kind of here, it's like, it's higher. We'll play with that in a minute when we draw it. Sorry, I zoomed in by accident. So I'm going to get more angle. So I want I want to try and play with this, that lower torso doing at this angle, and then she flattens in that lower torso. Just scoops down to the floor. We'll see where it takes us. Yeah, something like that. Hope that makes sense. That's me thinking. Gonna ease some of this out. And some of those angle lines I was talking about. Right, back to the generic construction. I don't get too long there because I'm trying to keep this, keep this this, fairly similar. Cool. We got a shoulder's going to drop in here. Let me raise it a little bit. What's cool is you see the spine is going to roll in there, so you see like the other side of the shoulder. Anyway, and then we're going to draw a nice curve down for the lower arm. And then we're going to draw this forearm doing this. And I'm going to curve around and slightly triangular come down just to give me some generics, and then curve around that wrist and give me the flat shape of the hand. Something like that. Does that make sense? Just going to take some of this back. I'm going to need to make sure later on that I keep the length here. So I want the arm to start back, rolling back. And into the elbow. And I'm going to want to get some muscle on that bicep, some shape in that bicep, rolling. It's in front of the deltoid right now. So I'm going to roll it in front of, and then I'm going to roll into that bicep. Sorry, that deltoid. Come back to that in a minute. Something like that. It's very strong there. It's really, it feels like almost she's crunching that muscle, which there would be from that. It would be tight a little bit. Right, we're going to see across the top of the. If you imagine the box here, you're seeing a little bit across the top of the torso. It's like the top area of the torso. So imagine the top of the box like that. That's what I'm kind of saying. And then from her spine, her neck. So you're seeing a little bit at the underneath of the neck, and then I'm going to put in a generic kind of like head shape. Then we'll fix some of this in a minute, drawing something like that. I'm going to need to zoom out to check my check on my scales a little bit. That's not too bad. Just while I'm zoomed out, I'm going to pull that other arm in, and it's raised up. We can see that, and it's obviously coming down again. So I'm going to make it like, because it's going away from me, it should a little bit, you know, be like that, narrow at that end. Right, so it's something like that, pulling away, and we're going to have to come into this shoulder, and we'll figure that out in a minute. That's fine, something like that. What I want to do is, before I start getting into that detail, I want to get a little bit more information up here. So I'm going to put in that calf. I'm going to roll in some shape up the leg. And then there's the foot in here. So I'm going to come up on the ankle and then drop in my generic triangle. Getting a little bit close to that of the drawing. I'm going to come back to this in a minute. And then this other leg is pulling down through here and coming up. Ankle. We're looking at the underneath of the foot there, so I'm going to put the ankle in, and I'm going to put a generic triangle, and we'll come back to that because that's a nice angle there. So while you're drawing that, I'll check. I think someone's drawing with us. My mum is drawing along with us. She says, my figure has a huge bum. I think she's talking about her drawing. Otherwise, she's just telling me that her figure has a huge bum. But I'd never noticed that, so I think she's talking about her drawing. Something like that. Let's pull this over. Right, let's see if we can rescue the top of this. Right, what am I doing? First thing, let's start pointing some of these angles in the right direction. So I've deliberately rubbed that out a bit to allow for the leg to end here, to give a long distance there. Because what we're going to do is show a little bit of the front of the knee. That's what we seem to be doing there. So we want that leg to be, it's not completely side on, it's slightly at an angle. That's why we're trying to do that. We want to enjoy how the figure folds here. But I want to get a little bit more shape in there. So I'm going to roll around this muscle and change direction very slightly here into that knee. Whoa, like that with my line. That makes sense. I'm trying to just create a little bit more shape. It's nice and soft in this drawing. In a way, I'm taking away some of that softness. I'm going to roll, like I said, I'm trying to end the buttock, like underneath the buttock here. This figure looks softer, but I'm going to create a little bit of shape in that thigh. And again, I'm just trying to lift the back of that muscle, back of the buttock. So in a way that, like the sacrum, the tailbone's right back in here, you can't see it, that's what I'm playing with. So the hip is here. And the gluteus maximus is up in there somewhere. Whoa. Let's get some marks in there, and we'll get a little bit of shape on that hip. And we'll try and crunch that slightly. So I'm putting in more. That rib is going to be doing something like that, I guess. Don't draw that mark in. That's just me kind of doing that. We're going to see on here, this is quite nice to draw, it's like shape of the stomach, and it rolls in and it flattens. Obviously this is almost an anime character, she's very slight in there, and she comes back almost as the rib cage rolls up here. So it comes in and then out towards the rib and then changing direction here. This isn't an easy drawing. Those, if you're kind of like, it's in many respects it's not an easy drawing. It's down the floor, it's crunched, it's pointing at different angles, but that makes it kind of fun, hopefully, and we're playing with how we're kind of pulling that drawing together. And we're building a bit more muscle mass, I guess, and shape than on this one. This one's more gestural, this first one. This one we're kind of building a bit more shape in there. And we get some lines on here to keep the roundness. This always wants to feel rounded. Or like that. So I'm kind of playing with that all the time. I'm happy with that. I'm going to come back here. We're going to see some of the lat there. And then the rib. That's the back of the rib and the spine. And the spine rolling up into the back of the neck. So for that reason we might see, be very slight, some of the lat on that side. Some of the back of the shoulder blade. Oh, that's too dark. See where that takes us. Let's get a suggestion of, I don't want that to be furry. I'm trying to suggest the rib, because the ribs will be rolling in. But I don't want to draw it like that. Much more subtle. Let's come around this deltoid and roll it up into the neck. Across the top and up into the neck. I get a hollow there. Gonna thin out my neck. Get that trapezius in on the other side. I want to get in here, I want to get that shoulder, the deltoid in there, and then that arm pulling away to the elbow. Just playing with how that would sit. Allowing these to curve into the spine. I think I'm struggling in there slightly, but we'll see. Just neaten some of this up. Time is running away with us. I'm going to come around this shape. I'm going to roll into that forearm and then straighten. Elbow a little bit of curve, weight in that curve, thinning through. And put some form lines, so feel the need to. Let's get this hand in. Knuckles. Let's break this finger, because we can. Let's just break that knuckle. Not break it, but I'm suggesting it. That's kind of what I mean when I'm breaking it. I'm putting a line in. We'll put this one in, and maybe we'll split this one out. Just to create a little bit of variety, a little bit of weight on the... When I draw the hand, I often draw like the end of that shape, so that's what I'm doing there, and it's helped that drawing. I'm going to suggest this knuckle and this knuckle. Cool. Right, heads, and did a nice thing on here. I'm actually just going to chop the ear in, and then I'm going to hide it all with the hair. So the hair is coming from behind that ear, and it's kind of, so it's swapping, it's coming, brushing down from that ear, and then falling forwards, and then cascading onto the floor. And it's kind of, that's the point it's coming from. So as I pull that around, it wants to feel like it cascades from this point. Nice way of not drawing any of the head. See what I did? Not any of the face. And we'll draw just a few lines to suggest that flow and how it sits over here. It sits there and there, but not a lot else. I'm going to suggest the end of the nose. And then the mouth, about halfway now between this distance, so I made her a little bit unhappy there, and underneath that lower lip. And that's all I'm going to do. Zoom in a bit so you can kind of see. The chin. That's it. I'm going to hide the rest. And put some additional hairlines in behind. We'll have a couple of loose straggles kind of dropping behind that. Get some weight on that if we wanted to. It's coming. It's coming. That's cool. Let's just finish off these legs then, actually. So let's just drop in here. We're nearly there. Hope I'm not drawing too fast. Still most of you are with me. I got 2 thumbs up. Thank you very much. So I'm going to draw some of that calf. I'm going to, again, I'm stylizing a little bit, rolling it in. I've suggested underneath that calf there. I don't want to draw a lot more in here. I don't mind my marks. It's a little bit suggestive, but that's cool. We're going to draw the ankle bone. Now if we're looking down the foot, we would change if we were looking at the... Let's change it from this slightly. I'm going to draw the ankle bone like here, and I'm going to curve around here. So I'm almost looking at the back of the foot and down the length of the foot a bit more. See if we can pull that off. I'm going to do something like that, and then we're going to pull that foot further back in this drawing. Because they do get tricky when they start pointing back like this. There's going to be a little toe on that side, but I've deliberately drawn the ankle bone that way because you're seeing over the top of it now. Something like that. Wow. Right, let's get that other leg in. Drops in here. Let's get a little bit of shape and curving there. Because now we're looking at the back of that calf a little bit. The calf would have a centre line if it was very defined, and it would be like either side. Now it's not gonna be hugely defined there, but we could play around with a little bit of that shape. And on this, we're going to see the ankle bone. We're going to see the ankle bone this way because you're looking across the back of it. Define this line a bit. Maybe because this is pulling away, we'll keep this line making it a little bit lighter. Let it vanish away a little bit. we've got the back of the heel. Now, as a structure, you're looking at something a bit like this. Yeah, you might pencil that in really lightly. So to allow for that, I'm actually going to draw really lightly the pad of the heel, because that helps a little bit build the structure, but in a more softer way. And I'm going to round that heel, but make sure you keep the height here. And then, you know, I said it was like this. Oops. Yeah. For that reason, I'm now going to suggest the bigger pad on the front of the foot where the big toe is. But I'm keeping these lines nice and light. And on this side, I'm going to draw the smaller pad, and then I'm going to tuck up so I've got that raised, that arc, something like that. And then I'm going to darken on that side, because the way feet work when you start drawing underneath is tricky. And then underneath that big toe, don't get too short with that big toe, and I'm going to flatten on this side a little bit. And knuckle there. Get a little bit of curve on there if I can. I don't want it too dark because I want it to just disappear off. And then I'm going to suggest how the other toes would sit back in there. Not to worry, because you're not going to see a lot when it starts getting back there. Get a little bit of information around there. Lighten out there. A few bit of mark in there. And we'll see if that's fighting shapes a bit there. Something like that. I've got to zoom out a bit because we're a bit close there. Yeah, it's in the right direction. It feels a little bit twisted. I've twisted it somehow. Feels a little bit better. Oh, I'm not sure it does. Something like that. Cool. Well, that's a little drawing. Still don't like that foot, because I need it to kind of feel like that. That's why I need that pad to do that. So maybe it was that line. Wasn't helping. I need to keep the height here. Play. But that's fun, it's learning, isn't it? Cool. Anyway, I think we're going to stop with that. That's not too bad. I'm happy with that. Those are our little drawings for today. Cool. Well, thank you very, very much, everyone that joined us. I think we're going to call it a day there. Don't draw that quickly, do I? In class, I'm like, we must draw this. You've got 5 minutes. And actually, what was that, an hour? And I drew 3 drawings. Anyway, cool. It was fun. We drew some muscle shapes. I feel a bit more relaxed in my drawing after drawing those and ready to go into the next task. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, great. We will come back next week and we'll do some more. Tell your friends, tell your uncles, tell your pet cat and your dog. They can draw too. Give me a thumbs up. And if you draw something and want to post it online, hashtag Turnip Starfish, Instagram, Twitter. Not Turnip Starfish, sorry. Cardiff Life Drawing. We've been doing lots of other videos as well. So hashtag Cardiff Life Drawing and I'll see them there. But cool, I think I'm going to say goodbye now. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all soon. Ta-ra! Bye-bye-bye.